Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience, and tonight I'm here to talk to you about the Burson headphone amp, the Burson FUN headphone amp. And it's a relatively small amp. It's made to fit in a computer drive bay. On the front you've got your volume control, standard 1/4-inch headphone plug, a mic in, and a 3.5 millimeter input. On the back, you've got your analog RCA in, your preamp out, your power switch, and two different 12-volt inputs, one for the external power supply that comes with the amp and the other to hook it up to your computer system. Anyway, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time showing you the amp tonight. I'm here to talk about the sound. And I've had this a little less than 2 weeks. I've had a chance to put quite a few hours on it, and also Burson sent 2 extra sets of op amps with this. And if you don't know, an op amp is short for operational amplifier, and it's pretty easy to swap the op amps in this and give the amp a different signature, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes. First, I want to talk to you or tell you what my thoughts are on the sound of this with the standard stock op amps in it. Anyway, the first thing I noticed about this amp is that the background is completely silent. There is absolutely no background noise at all, just pitch black background, which really impressed me. That was the first thing that struck me about this amp. Also, I would say it's almost, with the stock op amps, is very neutral. What I'm using basically to compare to this is, for the last 6.5 years, this little Benchmark DAC1 has been my primary headphone amp, and it has the HPA2 amp in it, which is the same amp that's still used in the newer Benchmark DAC2 and DAC3. And at one time you could buy the amp separately for about $300. So I think it's a pretty fair amp to use as a comparison. And like I said, it's been my primary amp for several years. It's very clean and very detailed. So compared to that, I would say with the stock op amps in this, the sound is very close to my Benchmark. And that's an amp I've been using for years and very happy with. I would say it's just slightly warmer than the Benchmark, which the Benchmark could actually be a little bit on the cold side of neutral. So I would say this Burson FUN is very close to neutral in its sound signature. The next thing I noticed about it is the sound is very clean and very detailed. Great clarity, just everything stands out, no haze, no fog, nothing like that. The sound stage is very good. It's got a nice wide sound stage with my Hi-Fi Man Sundaras and my Hi-Fi Man HE560s. I'm hearing sounds coming from way out here on both sides. Excellent sound stage width. The depth is good also. The sound is very smooth. It's not fatiguing at all. I can listen to it as long as I want, and there's no harshness at all to it. It's just very clean and a very smooth sound. It's smooth without losing any detail. The volume knob I like a lot. It feels real solid, and it's very easy to control the volume with it, to make small adjustments. I use several different headphones with this, everything from IEMs, which are Hi-Fi Man RE400s, to Hi-Fi Man Sundaras and Hi-Fi Man HE560s, which are pretty hard to drive, and it did a good job with all of them. With the IEMs, I'm not hearing any background noise at all, and it has enough power to drive the HE560s and make them sound good. The HE560s really need power to sound good. If your amp is underpowered, they sound thin and and harsh. And this amp at 2.1 watts into 32 ohms is has a sufficient power to drive the 560s very well. It sounds great with my Sundaras, and I've got a pair of Kennerton Valleys that are hanging here behind me, and they're a lot more efficient. So with the Kennertons, I'm at about probably normal listening about 3 to 4 o'clock on the volume knob, and the Sundaras, I'm at more like about 4 o'clock on the volume knob, normal listening levels. And then the HE560s, which are pretty inefficient, I'm more at like 5 to 6 o'clock on the volume knob, but it's got plenty left and plenty of power. Let's get to the op amps. There's two different sets of op amps that are made for this, the V6 Vivid and the V6 Classic. I didn't get a whole lot of time in on either of these, maybe a couple hours each. I do work a full-time job. This headphone thing doesn't pay my bills yet. So anyway, I did try it out. In the Vivid, it definitely changed the sound. And it's kind of hard to compare back to the original op amps, because to change them, you've got to take 4 screws out, the 2 top screws in the front, 2 top screws in the back, pop the lid off, pull the old op amps out, put the new ones back in, put the thing all back together, hook it all back up into your system. So you're talking like 10 minutes. So you kind of have to go by memory to remember the exact sound. It's not like you can just switch back and forth. But I did notice quite a difference, and what really helped me is because the original op amps sound very similar to my DAC1, I was able to compare it back to that with the Vivid. And basically with the Vivid, the best way I can explain the difference is it's kind of like with a TV, where they have a store setting that is like a brighter, more vivid, higher contrast picture to bring your attention to it, to catch your attention when you're walking by. And this is kind of like that. It doesn't really change the tone of the amp. It's still pretty neutral, but it's just, it's like turning the contrast and the color saturation up on your TV. It just makes everything kind of jump out at you more. And in fact, if you have headphones that sound a little thin or a little bit boring, you probably love it. I really like that part of it. I switched over to the Classics, and to me, and like I said, I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with it, but the Classic sounds a lot like the Vivid. Great detail, very clear, and kind of that high contrast sound, where, like I said, it just kind of jumps out at you more. But the first thing I notice about the Classic is there's definitely more bass impact and bass energy. And if you have a headphone that's lacking a little in the bass, like say the Hi-Fi Man Sundara here is a great headphone, but it could use a little bit more in the sub bass and just more bass impact, in my opinion. And this amp does that exactly. With the Classic V6 op amps in it, it just gives your headphone more, it makes it more dynamic, more exciting. So if you've got a headphone that sounds a little boring or a little thin, these op amps are gonna just bring out more energy, more dynamics. And like I said, the Classic seems to definitely have a little bit of boost in the bass. I would say, because I tried this amp with the standard op amps in it, with I've got a little shit Loki that I can do tone adjustments. And I would say the Classic is the equivalent of giving the standard op amps probably 3 or 4 decibels of boost. So gives it a really nice, clean, detailed sound, but with a little extra bass, bass impact, bass texture. It makes the bass in my Sundaras sound more like the bass in my Kennerton Valleys, which I love. So anyway, is there anything I don't like about this amp? And really, I can't think of anything. I mean, in my opinion, it's a great little amp, and my understanding is the base price is $299, and you can order a package including the either the Vivid or Classic op amps. I think it bumps the price up to $399. But anyway, I'd say my only issue is you only have one set of analog inputs on it. I guess you do have the 3.5 millimeter input on the front, which you can plug a portable or something like that into. But, you know, I mean, as far as only having one input, I'm sure, you know, more inputs and an input switch would bump the price up a bit. So really, this amp is all about sound. And in my opinion, for a $300 amp, I really am impressed with the sound, and I can highly recommend it. I'm going to wrap this up now. Once again, this is William from the Headphone Experience. And if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also, I'm the administrator at the Headphone Experience on Facebook, and you're all welcome to join our group if you're not already a part of it. Thank you.